recording with
Gotta hit got it.
the one and only Dr. Roseanne Barr and
Mhm.
Dr. Robert Malone. A lot of people don't know that Dr. Roseanne Barr is actually the co-inventor of the mRNA vaccine. She is also on the patents. And we were just talking, Dr. Malone was telling us about how smoking actually protects you against COVID. And Miss Barr here is telling you guys
Hello.
actions speak louder than words. Don't just preach it, practice it. And that's what you're doing right now, correct?
Well, my kids got on me. They said, Mom, you better quit smoking because you're going to get the COVID and it's going to go to your weakened lungs. Okay, so I quit because they were driving me nuts. As soon as I quit, I got the effing COVID, doctor.
Yeah, that's
And then I said, by God, right after that, I read they were saying smoking keeps COVID away. A cigarette a day keeps the effing COVID away. And I'm like, everything I think is right. And all these doctors, save you, sir, are completely wrong. And they know they're wrong. They must know they're wrong. They know they're wrong, for God's sake. Putting all the old people, I mean, they did this shit on purpose. Am I right?
I don't know. Somebody did something on purpose. I sure hope they didn't kill people on purpose. Let's just leave it at that. That would be a pretty bad situation. But there's no question that what's been done here over the last 3 years is absolutely wrong and was counterproductive for public health. And there's also no question that a lot of people that just kept their heads on their shoulders and thought for themselves were able to figure stuff out that even the great Dr. Fauci seems to have had problems figuring out.
Didn't you love that video of Dr. Fauci going to that black guy's house and that black guy just came out and blasted him with a big old shot of the truth and he withered under it, that Dr. Fauci.
That was classic.
That video
That whole
was
PBS special was classic. The man has no lack of ego.
that video was great. He was like, y'all are like offering money, you're threatening people. He's like, something else is going on. Something else is going on, and he shuts the door. That was fantastic.
What a great American he is.
Hell yeah. Dr. Malone, so how can you because obviously Miss Barr was canceled and you were canceled, and I think the importance of this is to show that canceling has no preference. It doesn't give a shit. It will attack you if you do not follow the party line. But I think both of you have come out stronger for it, which is what they hate. Could you maybe speak on that? How, and because it sort of does unleash you entirely. And I think my favorite thing is just Miss Barr walking around saying, a lot of my family are vaccinated libtards. And she can say more eloquently than I think either you or I could say, Dr. Malone. Could you maybe speak on that, Miss Barr? How it just really takes it really just removes the filter once you've been canceled. You go, I got nothing, so I'll become even more lethal.
Well, I don't like your terms of words there because I don't think it's lethal.
Not lethal.
Unless you think it's lethal to the devil, the father of lies, then yes, I will.
Yeah, lethal
I
in terms
will
of
say that,
truth,
yes.
shooting at the heart. Lethal
The
to
heart
the
of
bad
the
guys.
beast.
Yes.
The heart of the beast.
It's a good-
Shots to the heart of the lying beast. I
It's a
mean,
good
the
lethal.
beast is just all a lie, so every lie feeds it,
Mhm.
It's made up of lies, and so I don't like lies. I like truth because one thing, the older you get, you can't, once you start lying, you can't remember what you said. Can't remember your lie.
Isn't that the Winnie the Pooh quote? If you just tell the truth, you don't need to remember anything. That's my excuse for being
That's
an idiot.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Dr. Malone.
Yeah, so I agree that when the most dangerous person in the world is the one that has nothing to lose.
Correct.
And when they've already pulled out all the stops to attack you and to ridicule you and gaslight you and deplatform you, it sets you free. You no longer have to worry about whether or not they're going to gaslight you and defame you and ridicule and deplatform you because they've already done it.
It's
and
liberation.
You survive. And once you realize that the worst that they can do to you, well, there's always something worse. But for the most part, you know, if they do all that stuff to you, and the New York Times and the Washington Post and Atlantic Monthly and Rolling Stone and yada, 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 they all write their nasty little snark. And yet people still want to hear what you have to say, whether you're sharing comedy, because comedy is absolutely one of the best weapons. Comedy is absolutely a 5th generation warfare weapon. And JP Sears knows it. Roseanne
Yes.
Barr knows it. And by the way, High Res the rapper knows it. If you saw today's new rap video release called "What Is the Truth?"
No.
Wow.
So that just dropped today at 2:00. I could recommend that for your consideration. Tommy, you can put that in the links.
I will.
Hey, I have to put, what do you call it? Honk my horn for everybody to go watch my hour special on Fox
Absolutely.
Nation. You got to buy the app. People don't know that, but you got to buy the Fox Nation app, which you'll be able to see a lot of Yellowstone on there. So go ahead, or the
Good.
making of Yellowstone. And, you know, don't you love that Beth? She's the real American woman, I think, that Beth.
Go
She's
support
worked
Roseanne.
it hard, and she understands the truth and how to wield it.
Yeah, we're big Yellowstone fans too. As you know, you're there in Hawaii, right?
Well, I'm in Texas too.
Oh, you're
Oh.
in Texas
right
now.
now.
Oh,
Okay.
last time it was Hawaii. I apologize. I'm fake news,
Okay.
Dr. Malone. I told you
Yeah,
she was in
so
Hawaii.
so there's Beth really kind of catches the whole ethic, doesn't she? Just in
She
your
certainly
face,
does.
I don't give a damn. Go stuff it. I'm going to do what I want to do. You know, that's real freedom. And that
I love when she walks in the boardroom and she's like, she's all dressed up to the nines, you know, she's so gorgeous. Or sometimes she has a scar on her face with black eyes and she don't give a F. And she goes in there anyway, and she's like, I've just bought you gentlemen out, you're fired. I love that.
that was a great scene. I think Costner and that whole production company have done us all a huge favor. They've reminded us what being American is.
Haven't they?
Yep.
And Kevin Costner, he is like, you know, Whitney Houston, she told me once, I said, why is everyone so crazy over him? He looks like all my neighbors in Salt Lake City. And she said, well, he's the finest looking white man I've ever seen. I said, you've got to be kidding. He looks like the kid across the street that held his family hostage. You know, I don't think he was that cute. But now when I see him on Yellowstone, I'm like, that is one nice hunk of man meat right there.
Yeah, he's built a franchise. That production crew is just knocking it out of the park.
They're fantastic. The cinematography is gorgeous. I mean,
Absolutely.
the heart of every character is just gold. I love that one. Everybody's got a heart of gold, but they're still, you know, taking the knocks, and there's no, you know, I love how the Native American community gets along with them too. I like how everybody's really on the, you know, they're trying to make $1, and I mean, it's pretty staggering about the amount of things people have to do to stay in business in this country, you know? That's kind of scary.
But they sure hate Californians, don't they?
Well, yeah,
oh, yeah, they hate Californians. A lot of people down here in Texas do too. They're like, don't bring California down here to Texas.
In particularly Austin.
Yeah, I go there because that's where Joe Rogan's comedy club is, which is a fantastic club called the Mothership there. And I've seen some fantastic comedians, like Dave Chappelle just dropped in, and you know, people just drop in. It's a fun place because the audience is great. It's a great audience of thinkers down there, every stripe, you know, and walk of life, and all different opinions. And yet, like my daughter told me, Mom, don't go down there. It's a blue city. they'll hate your guts, you know.
Okay.
And then this one night, my friend Ron, oh Christ, I can't remember his last name right now because I'm old. The great comic, what's his name? Ron White.
Oh,
He
tater
he's
salad.
he brought me up, you know, and I was just had a couple, so I'm like, all right. I had my booze brave thing on,
So you like,
and
you think Austin, you think you can survive in
I
Austin?
I didn't let my daughter scare me. Yeah, I didn't let my daughter scare me too bad. And they were the nicest people I've ever been in front of. And they loved all my anti-liberal jokes. And I just was so happy. They were thinkers, you know. They weren't sitting there thinking if it was politically correct or not. They were
Yeah.
laughing at the jokes. And I had hope for our youth.
Yeah, I've only been to Austin once. I got to go meet Alex Jones on New Year's Eve,
Wow,
2021. And at
cool.
like 9 in the morning, he ordered ribs. And I was sitting in this room and he's got this room at InfoWars and all the walls are whiteboards. I've told this story before, and they're all blank, except for one of them. He's just written one period, like he's a list, but just says one, and it just says mind control. And he walks in and he looks at me and he goes, "Don't take a picture of that. That's a secret." I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm just kidding. How you doing, kid?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, Alex Jones." But that's my only experience with Austin is eating ribs with Alex Jones at 9 in the morning.
That's awesome.
It's
He's a fantastic guy. I just love him.
I'm
Just
so
love.
jealous of that picture of you, Alex Jones, and Tim Dillon. I
How
saw.
cool is that picture when
I
it's like
was
when
so
you realize
jealous.
your parents are just human?
I love that caption. It's just Alex. There's another picture of Tim Dillon when he was in Alex Jones' studio last week, and there's like a still, and he's reading the ads, and you see Alex looking at him, and someone just goes, "It's so great to watch a father watch their son grow up." It's just fucking great. But I want to go back to what you said earlier, Dr. Malone, about I'd never actually heard that, though funny, it being a fifth generation war tactic, and what Miss Barr said, and when we did a show last year, and you said that the goal of becoming I think you said to become so fucking funny that it is undeniable. And it's a great sentence just on its face, but once you tear it apart, it is true. No ministry of truth, no amount of censorship, no amount of, that word's banned or, ooh, that's iffy. When something's really funny, it's the laugh is you don't control it. You don't choose to laugh. So you don't choose to
That's
fall in
right.
love. You don't choose to like get jumped. A movie scares you. It's reflexive. And you said to be so funny that to become undeniable. And that applies everywhere. So if you make a joke about Fauci or about vaccine injuries, and it is so funny, for a split moment, the
My
entire
big joke is I go, hey, all you people that are upset about them overturning Roe v. Wade, you young women, you got nothing to worry about. You're never gonna get pregnant. You're never gonna have a baby. You've been vaxxed. Get over it.
it is true. Yeah, you see this woman weigh like 600 pounds with neon pink hair, and they're like, "You ain't getting none of this," and it's like, bro, nobody was going for it, but God
No, but I
bless.
mean,
With the vaccine,
I
yeah.
think that the vaccine, I mean, maybe it's one of my old lady conspiracy theories, but I just feel like, I think, when I read statistics about how many miscarriages and stuff and stillbirths people have had that have been vaxxed, I think they are trying to sterilize a generation.
It I had on a Dr. Thorpe
What do you
and
think,
yeah,
doctor?
Dr. Malone. Why am I talking? Dr. Malone, you talk
Yeah,
on this.
why are you talking? Pipe down, you're young and dumb.
Yes, ma'am. I'll
Quiet.
shut up. Yes, ma'am.
So,
Go
Roseanne,
clean your
my
room.
problem is that I don't see the documents. We can all see that the likes of Klaus Schwab and the WEF and Bill Gates talk about depopulation all the time,
Yeah.
and they have for years.
Yeah, they do it in broad daylight.
And Bill Gates and his foundation have been involved in vaccine studies that seem to be designed to cause Black women to not have babies in Africa.
Hello.
So that's what we know. And it kind of doesn't matter whether it was their intention or not, it's happening.
Right.
And whether they did it on purpose or they were just stupid and didn't think, the consequences are happening. I had to cut short a Zoom call to take this one with a group of physicians in Brazil. And they're really worried because they're seeing these spontaneous abortions and birth defects. And when women are finally delivering, they're having real problems with blood clots for themselves and their babies, particularly the women that are vaccinated and boosted. So it's being reported all over the world, and they're doing their best to hide it and to pretend like it's not a problem. But Roseanne, there's one example that I love to cite. I was called to what's called a rabbinical court in New York City, really early on, soon after they rolled out the jabs. And it was bizarre because it was like sitting around with about 10 different Gandalfs, all these old rabbis, and they knew that there was reproductive harms happening to the women. And because they monitor their menstruation, it's really important for Orthodox Jews to monitor reproduction. And they knew this was happening. And they came out with a determination, an actual judicial determination from the rabbinical court that it outlawed taking these vaccines in children and young women because of the reproductive damage. And that was 2 years ago. And then it took a year until the CDC acknowledged that something was going on. And then just a month and a half ago, we heard Pfizer, that young gentleman that James O'Keefe caught with his shorts down, metaphorically. And he said that Pfizer believes that this is damaging women's reproduction.
I saw that video, and then did you see the guy scramble, jumping across the floor to try to tear the tape out of the camera?
I sure did. Apparently he's still employed by Pfizer. They can't fire him now. So, but back on the topic of comedy, you're a comic, I'm not. But what I learned from people that are professionals like you is that good comedy has to be grounded in truth.
Of course. And so when they outlawed the truth, it's hard to write comedy, and they love that. They know how powerful comedy is, and that's where they try to censor it first before they censor journalists. Now they're on to the journalists after they got all the comics. That's how they do it in every single color revolution that they throw in the world, and they always have done it that way. Even kings did it that way.
To your point, I was in Austria, in Vienna, a couple of months ago. And as you know, Austria is all about the arts.
I know. And I went to that big ball they have there. It was fantastic.
Yeah, they know how to put on a show.
Oh,
and so we went there and we found out that at the very front edge of the outbreak, the Austrian government came in and paid off all the artists, all the musicians, all the influencers, just like they did here in the United States with Hollywood and with New York City. They paid them all off to cause them to not say anything about the jabs or to promote them. It was the same exact strategy all over the world. They must have spent a ton of money on basically buying artists and musicians and influencers.
Yeah.
Did you see that happening in Hollywood?
Oh, yeah. It's always happening in Hollywood. I mean, you hear about people living in these multi-million-dollar house, and they made one movie 40 years ago, I mean, yeah, there's big money in selling out. I wanted to name my show that, Big Money in Selling Out. But yeah, that's Hollywood. It's all a sellout place. There's nothing artistic at all coming out of there. I mean, there is, as far as like innovative technology, but there's no stories that have any living soul in them.
Yeah, it's all woke, right?
That's what it was supposed to be about, to lift the spirits of the masses. Now they crush them and they sneer at you while they're doing and while they overcharge you. I mean, everything is the sneer and the punching down. That's what it is. And that's what they tried to make comedy. And, that's kind of what it is. It's like, I don't know, when I always talk to a lot of comics about this, like, when did you know you were funny and what did you, how did you live with it? Because, it's like an obsession for a lot of us, and we can't do nothing else. We don't want to do anything else. And we love it so much because we know that we're allowed to speak truth to power on behalf of the audience. And we don't take that lightly at all, because we feel we were put here to do something and to say something and to cause something or set something in motion, or to get people to question things that they really should question, and not to go so blindly to the showers. That's my obsession, and I'm not gonna quit. They're not gonna make me quit. I mean, they can ban me from everywhere, but right now, like 20 years ago, I built a studio, and I wanted to do what everybody's doing right now, but I only had 1% of computer owners that knew how to access live stuff. So I had to wait 20 years, for it to happen.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's weird that we have this great technology and no idea what to do with it, because they have to figure out how to monetize crap, and it's like so weird. But one thing you were saying I wanted to ask you about philosophically, and that is that I feel that our enemy is not other people. I feel like our enemy is a force that gets into people and makes them do horrible anti-human things to their fellow humans.
I think a lot of people, so I think you're touching on this kind of rebirth of spiritualism.
Well, I don't call it spiritualism. I don't like that word.
A lot of people
sounds like somebody in a turban telling you your future.
Yeah. So these ideas about the devil,
and
the existence of evil.
Yeah.
There's no, so more and more and more people the polls show it, during the last 3 years, are turning to Judeo-Christian and Muslim, more deep religious faith.
Yeah.
And furthermore, it's really clear in touring that it's the people of faith that are most resistant to the psyops, to all of this propaganda. There's something about being in a community of faith that's protective. And,
I agree.
And you can see it all over the world. And I'm fascinated by it.
Me too.
There's more. I can tell you, my wife and I feel are much more committed to, if you don't want to call it spiritualism, call it belief, than we were before this. You cannot deny that the role of evil in what's happened over the last 3 years. But did you ever read this 20th century Jewish philosopher named Hannah Arendt?
Oh, yes, of course.
So you're familiar with this Eichmann in Israel, the Eichmann trial coverage that she did, Eichmann in Jerusalem, and her logic of the banality of evil.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what drives me effing bananas, because I'm like, just because everybody's doing it, why does that make it okay for you to think to do it? Don't you think?
Right.
It's like your parents used to tell you, well, if your friends are going to go jump off a building, would you go jump off a building too,
Right.
just because your friends are doing it? But I
Yeah.
guess the answer is yeah.
For a lot of people. So there's this great, I'm sure you know Aldous Huxley then, Brave New World, right? There's
Yeah.
a video of him in about 1962 giving an interview in which he talks about hypnosis and psyops in the government. And he says that history has shown, and there's multiple studies, that about 20% of people are easily hypnotized.
Yeah.
And about 20% of people just can't be hypnotized no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And the other 60% are kind of in between. And the same exact numbers show up in the people that get totally caught up in the propaganda and believe whatever the state tells them, and the ones that just are skeptical about everything. And they're the same groups. The people that can't be hypnotized are the same people that question everything and are always skeptical in wondering what's really going on. And I think Huxley talks about this, and he says, Huxley talked about it being adaptive, good for society, that you want some part of society that'll just kind of go along, because otherwise it's just anarchy. We're a bunch of anarchists. We can't get anything done. And you want some fraction of society that's skeptical. And he thought that it was evolutionarily good that things were like this, but there's no question that we see these same numbers play out again and again. And I like to talk about this when I talk to folks as making the point that if we hate those people, if we bring hate in our heart to those people that said all that ugly stuff over the last 3 years, you know, those people that said we should, you know, people should be allowed to die and they shouldn't be able to go to the hospital and they should be put in camps, all that ugly stuff. If we hate those people, we can never help bring them along so they're on our side.
No, I agree.
We have to somehow reach them and help them wake up if we want to ever have a majority, so we don't find ourselves ruled by Klaus Schwab and his, you know, his ilk.
Well, the key is if you cannot laugh at yourself, you are already brainwashed and too far gone. So you better think about that, because everyone who can't laugh at themselves is a fascist. There you go. I figured it out for you. People who have the vast need to laugh at everyone around them except themselves, such as the people who got me fired, they're fascists. That's one thing fascists can't do. Laugh at themselves, and two, dialogue.
A lot of those people are narcissists.
Aren't they? Oh my God, I really want to talk about narcissism. People have no idea that all of the people that they value and, you know, what do you call it? Idolize are mostly narcissists. That's what they're teaching people subconsciously, I think.
I agree. I think we're raising generations of children to be privileged narcissists that feel like they can't. Here's the thing that really bugs me, Roseanne, is I think we're raising children to believe that they need to be protected from everything, including ideas that are different from the ones that they were brought up with. I think that we're teaching children that ideas are dangerous, and they're the ones that are then going and working for Silicon Valley and Facebook and Twitter and saying that any ideas that are different from their ideas have to be suppressed. I think it's because we brought them up to be narcissists and to be intolerant. This is the paradox of California Silicon Valley culture. They're actually intolerant of diversity of opinion, diversity of thought.
Well, the thing is, here's what I think, that they are a bunch of privileged, snot-nosed, spoiled, egotistical little ungrateful little bastards that couldn't hold a real job if their life depended on it. And you know why they're like that? From this F and giving everybody a trophy at the baseball game.
Yep.
That used to make me so mad. You know, they banned me from the baseball field too, because they used to go like a kid and get up there. My son played and he was really good because he practiced. Well, so these kids, they'd only come, to the game. They thought that, everybody was blessed that they showed up to the game, but they never came to practice. Well, they get up there and they sucked. And then everybody still said, good job, and still said, good job to them. And it made me so mad. And so I just started screaming because I have a low, I don't have a lot of self-control when I'm angry. Well, I have more now. But then I was like, hey, keep your eye on the ball, okay? Tell your mother to bring you to practice so you can improve and we can win. That's what it's about, winning. It's not about just getting up there and hitting the ball. You've got to hit the ball. And that was not good. And so all the moms, of course, I was in probably my 50s by then. They were all like 21. They were snot-nosed second wives. And so they're like, that isn't loving and helpful. And you know what? And they give them all a trophy. And, I said, that's what's exactly wrong with the world. Those kids who've never been told no, they've never been punished for any of the infractions that they've done. They've never had to say, I'm so sorry, and pay somebody back for the crap they've caused somebody. They've been covered for. They all belong in prison. I swear to God, I'm so angry at them. And they walk around with nothing but arrogance. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what Judaism says about it. It says in our holy books that arrogance and ignorance always go together and result in the undoing of the person. You don't have to do anything against them. They'll do it to themselves. And I see we're seeing a nationwide view of that right now, and which I'm loving every second of it. But anyway, so, and it always has a sneer. Someone who is possessed of arrogance and ignorance always has a sneer. And so, that's who we're being ruled by and have been ruled by since that whole Obama fiasco, where we were so brainwashed into voting for somebody who hated us and thought we were doing a good deed. I mean, we are so brainwashed and stupid, and everyone hates us, and we're still like, why don't they love us? Well, because we take no self-account whatsoever of what we've done or caused to other people. We're so arrogant and ignorant, we're our own undoing, and we better wake up.
So, Roseanne, should Texas secede?
Yes. And that we should stop funding the UN because all they're doing is trying to cause trouble for people and kill people. Damn, they don't do it. Damn right. You know what? I know the real thing they're doing, and so do you. But we won't even talk of it because that's from the down below. And by God, the sunshine is out now. The sunshine of the internet, and things that they've hidden, they can't be hidden no more. And people are going to get, people better wake up, because this is the last place on earth where people have any say in their government, although we don't right now, since they overthrew the government of the United States. And it was easy. They did it twice. Twice they've overthrown the government of the United States, constitutional republic, twice, right in front of our eyes, and none of us can see it because we're so brainwashed.
So what do you think about Carrie Lake?
Well, I think she's right. The cartels are in charge of that state and most states in that area. It's the cartels that run our Congress, that and Hamas. Are you kidding me?
She's pretty smart.
China. We
She's
don't
a
have
pretty smart
nobody
lady,
that
isn't she?
represent the American people. These people we vote to be our public servants, they better get out of the servant business. They don't know the first thing about being a servant. They actually think, like all my writers on the Roseanne show thought that the show was about them, and I had to bust them back too. I said, this show ain't about you. You know, but anyway, now, you know, they stole my show, so I don't know what the hell. But, you know, it's there for everybody to see it, even though they don't want to. But it's getting to the point where even if you don't want to see it, you're going to see it. It's coming to you, people that say, I don't care. I'm not interested in politics. Good. Well, politics is interested in you, stupid. And it's coming right to your door. And you will be ill prepared because you better wake up. Damn it.
So, Roseanne, you ever think about getting yourself a studio?
I got one. I built it 20 years ago.
Well,
I'm about
now,
ready to get out there and start telling people what they better do because they're raising their kids all wrong, for number one. And I'm sick of seeing that. Why does it fall to me to have to be the one to slap your kids in the grocery store while you're on your phone texting pictures of your fat ass to your Instagram account?
Yep. Well, this is Roseanne. I did it, and you can do it too, for sure. How
do you like how you're doing now? You like how you remind me of the people I grew up with, I have to say. You're a person who knows how to wrap that truth in some layers of sugar, and you are a very, very good speaker. And I like and respect that you speak the truth, sir.
I try, and thank you. The truth is kind of slippery sometimes.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yep. But this here is an old pig barn.
Really?
This was built in 1945, and we converted it to our little studio.
That's cool. Do you like what you're doing?
I don't like being attacked. That's no fun, and you know that.
Yeah, that isn't very fun.
Yep. But it's neat to be in your 60s and feel like you might be able to help people and make a difference. I never expected this. I thought I was just going to retire and, you know, right off into the sunset and have baby horses. But
what were you thinking when you came up with that mRNA deal? What benefit did you think you were giving to humanity with that?
Well, remember, I was 28. So that was 1988 to 1991. And I wanted to be a gene therapy guy. I wanted to treat children with genetic disease. And I was working on gene therapy tech, and this just kind of came out of it. And once the technology was out there, then the question is, what are you going to do with it? And I had enough background in vaccines that I thought, well, it's not going to be good enough to cure kids of muscular dystrophy or cystic fibrosis, but it might be good enough to produce an immune response. And so that was the idea of the vaccines. But I worked on it through the 90s at UC Davis and then at U Maryland. And I could never solve the problems. The problems were the inflammation, this kind of infection-like thing that you get after it. And so I abandoned the technology and I turned to other things. And then eventually I had started a company with some people from the Netherlands, and then the planes hit the towers and the investors pulled back, and my wife and I were left high and dry in Rockville. And a friend got me a job with a new company up in Frederick, Maryland, working on biodefense for the military. And that's how I got started on all this. So that's how that came to pass. It was just one thing after another. You know how it is. Well, you've had a good career and you have a special gift. But for me, it's really always been competitive. It's been a kind of a little bit of a tough road being at the very end of the baby boom. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's the way it is. And so I've always had to be a little bit scrappy. You may or may not know that I was first a carpenter and a farmhand before I became a physician and a scientist.
Oh,
So I've always had to work, and work my way up. And so when the whole biodefense thing happened, I thought I was doing good. I thought I was helping people, helping protect them against infectious disease and biowarfare. But then, everything went south. It all became corrupted. It became part of the whole military industrial complex. And it kind of got worse and worse and worse. And then we had these last 3 years that have just been, barking mad. And so that's, I had to come out and say, no, this is not right. What you're doing to people isn't right. It's not ethical. And it's not right to bypass all the things that you're supposed to do to make sure.
whoops, he froze.
Yeah, he froze up.
Say to me, Robert, why did you do this? You must have some financial interest. There must be some angle you're working. I can tell you this is not fun. I threw away a business that I'd built, a consulting business, because it was the right thing to say, no, this isn't right. I love this quote lately from Martin Luther King. It's always the right time to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's justification enough. When this young, talk about assholes, this young reporter from the Atlantic Monthly was pestering me to write that nasty article that they wrote about me. He on our last interview, he kept saying he didn't understand why I was doing this, that there must be some financial angle that I was working. And I told him, no, I was doing it because it was the right thing to do. He couldn't believe it. These young people think that everybody has got to have an angle. There's got to be some profit motive. They can't believe that people would actually do something because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I know that blows people's minds.
But we've got it. Folks like you and me are, sometimes I feel like we're like the last bastion. A little bit like Kevin Costner, sitting there on the Yellowstone Ranch, and trying to maintain a way of life and a way of being that is vanishing. But that doesn't mean we should stop doing it.
When you say that, it's so sad because you think about what's vanishing is, and what people don't know enough to value is the rights of the individual against the vast state. That's what they're after. That's what they want gone. That's what the whole UN wants gone. That's what they fear the most, is that there would be an individual who had actual liberty and freedom. And, we have to get that back here. And we have to first, we won't get it back as long as we don't want it, as long as we don't know it's gone. I mean, we have to know it's gone. We have to want it and desire it and crave it to get it back. Otherwise, the things we do are pure bullshit. And it really blows my mind that people are not craving liberty. I mean, what do they think? Where do they think they live? I mean, my God, it's just so horrifying and shocking.
I'm with you. Most people want to be told what to do. It's only a small fraction of us that really want to be free. And being free is tough. It's not an easy road. Because when bad stuff happens, you've got to own it. You can't blame somebody else, right?
Yeah, that reminds me of in Exodus in the Bible where that 2/3 of the slaves that got away from Egypt wanted to go back. They were mad at Moses and they're like, hey, wasn't there any graves in Egypt they could have buried us in? It's actually funny if you read it right. And then they're like, at least we had fresh fish back there in Egypt. Yeah, you can't even find any fish out, but they didn't even know enough to value it. They didn't know what it was, you know, and I guess there's so many people in America that they don't know what liberty is. They've never had it. And that's just so sad.
Especially the people that live in the big city.
Yeah. People that live in the big city, that they definitely took that away from them. They took all that away from them. But you know, they have there's no jobs. So I mean, there's no jobs. That's the problem. That's why I liked President Trump, is because he was the only one talking about jobs. Nobody was talking about jobs. They're still not talking about jobs, and they're getting elected or whatever. I don't know what the hell they're doing. But people want jobs, and that's the last thing they're talking about. They don't have to. I guess they'd rather talk about, you know, should children be sterilized when they're 5? Are they smart enough at age 5 to consent to lifelong sterilization if they have a feeling and nobody tells them, no, you're not a girl? I mean, here, they're like, here, you get a participation trophy in gender.
Yeah.
So crazy, but this is how they do. This is how they have mind control programs to make us question ourselves instead of us questioning them, such as, where'd our money go?
Yep. Yeah, the money is another hot topic. Do you do Bitcoin or any of that stuff?
Well, they tried to get me in that Bitcoin. In the beginning, I was into it and was talking to Max and Stacy and all that stuff because they invented it. But it just seemed like when I read that Bitcoin is how a lot of these perverts are paying for their sex trade, I just didn't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't want nothing to do with anything that goes to that. You know, that is from below. And you know, I'm trying to stay above. So I don't care about it, you know. Horses, and when you're out here in Texas, you see cows, they're living in a great big pasture full of food, and it's free. So if cows and horses and such can do it, maybe humans can do it too if they think about it enough.
you grow any food? You have a garden there in Texas?
I don't yet in Texas, but out in Hawaii, I sure do. And in 2010, I'm proud to say I helped get Monsanto kicked off the big island of Hawaii. And that's what propelled me to
Oh,
run.
you were part of that. Well, good for you.
And that propelled me to run for president of the United States, because I was like, here's how you do it. I figured it out, is that you were talking about public health. So I said, well, I'd like to see the studies that the state did on the children of Hawaii as a result of using Roundup and Monsanto products on the crops. And you know what? There wasn't a one.
Yeah, of course. So you live on the Big Island, or where you live?
Yeah, Big Island. And I have fruit and nuts. I grow mac nuts, beautiful mac nuts that can feed the world, you know.
Yeah, macadamias are good, and Hawaiian macs are the best.
Yeah.
Although they grow some good ones in Santa Barbara, where I grew up.
They're
Did you
beautiful
know that?
nuts.
Did you remember when we did our rallies on Maui, the physicians? We
No,
did,
I never go over there to Maui, too crowded. But I heard about it.
yeah, it was a pretty big rally. I think it's one of the biggest we had. It was almost 10% of the population of Maui, because you know, what happened was, as you know, the islands were destroyed. People were devastated. It went from one of the best economies to one of the worst because of mismanagement and those bloody lockdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Well, some of us think that that was a point that they, you know, some of us think that this was not an accident. None of it was an accident. You know, like Bill Gates and it was Agenda 21, but then, you know, they changed it to Agenda 30, I guess, because of Trump or whatever. But, you know, they got a little off their timeline. But, you know, they need to get rid of a lot of people. They have to depopulate. A lot of people have to go so that they can continue to live their lifestyle.
So I heard that Bill Gates is scooping up a lot of the land, a lot of the old sugarcane land.
Yeah, he is. Oprah did too. Oprah owns a lot of Maui. But yeah, I don't know what they're going to produce. They don't seem to, they try to grow pineapples, a lot of them, but you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of, when I was there last, I saw a lot of irrigation going in.
Well, you know, the islands are good for growing some stuff, like it's really good for fruit. I have some excellent citrus trees, and I have great oranges, and I've got grapefruits, lemons, limes, Myers lemons. You know, like I say, I got my mac trees. I got pineapples, white pineapples, and I have a fantastic vegetable garden that's full, beautiful salad stuff, you know. And I trying to grow rice. I got a big greenhouse. I'm gonna try to grow rice now.
Good for you.
Yeah, I
That's,
love it.
I think that's an important thing for folks, is to try to become more self-sufficient for food.
Yeah, that is the thing for sure. And to be able to get, you know, seeds, because
Yep.
everything's in seed banks, and they want everything is so that they can own the very seeds that grow the food that people
That's
eat.
Monsanto.
Yeah. I call them Satan, but you know, because they do want to genetically engineer everything, and they are eugenicists.
Yeah,
And, you know, they
Monsanto.
are like, what about these doctors that, you know, you look at them and it's like, oh my God, some of these guys, they'll do anything for money. Doctors.
Yeah. Money is, you know, they talk about mammon, right? It's one of the most corrupting things. And seems to be easy for people to lose their souls.
Yeah, I was thinking about in Nazi Germany, like, you know, the things that doctors and scientists did, they knew that what they were teaching and doing was, you know, against the very oath they took, and against science. But, you know, they still did it because, you know, for whatever reason they had for doing it. But they still did it. And
I think it's a lot about money and power and status and fame. All those classic sins are, you know, people, we were talking about evil. Evil, you're right, is like a pressure. It pushes into groups of people, and it spreads like a virus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a virus for sure. It's a bacteria for sure. It could get into you through the air. You know, it's already in you. It can get activated at any time. You know, you never know what's going to activate it. A lot of times fear activates it.
I agree. Yep. Fear, if we want to speak biblically, fear is the devil's favorite weapon.
Mm-hmm. He gets fat on that one. He feeds on that one.
And our government has decided that, and CNN and the likes of that have decided that fear is good business.
Yeah, they have. It's really sickening to watch any television news. It's just sickening because of what they're not reporting, what they're not telling us. That's what makes me so mad. The stories they are doing, they're already perverting the hell out of them, but the stuff they're not telling us, I mean, how can they look at themselves? I don't know. And they
So
just tell
what do you
stories
think?
to
What do you
keep
think
dividing.
about?
They just want to activate the mentally ill. It's like a thing they're doing. It's a psyop or something to,
Yep.
to weaponize mental illness.
So what do you think about these young people like Tommy in alternative media? This, you know, the podcast and everything else. Is that changing things?
Absolutely. It's the hope.
I
It's the
agree.
hope we have for our country, and that you know, for the soul of the youth that'll go beyond us, you know. Yeah, we really appreciate it. That's why we come on here. And you know, we want to teach them, because, you know, half of them are numbskulls, but it ain't their fault.
Yeah, well, I was a numbskull
Froze up, oh, he's back. What'd you say, Dr. Malone? You froze up for a second.
Sorry, I said I was a numbskull when I was that age too. So maybe even Roseanne was. Who knows?
Now, how old are you again? 24?
I'm 32.
32.
Yeah, I'm 32.
Geez, when I was 32, let me think what I was doing. Well, I already had 4 kids. You got any kids?
I don't. I kind of went backwards. At 23, I was gotten into medical school. Now at 32, I'm doing a podcast. So I kind of went backwards in maturity.
Did you graduate from medical school?
No, I got accepted. Realized I wasn't happy. Turned it down. A couple weeks later, my older brother took his life, and then I kind of went into like a downward spiral of 6 years, and eventually started this podcast. So I'm not really sure what the purpose of all of this is, but one thing I have learned with Dr. Malone, he's one of the reasons I got banned from YouTube, is to stand your ground. And I think there's an important quote that and I've been quiet this whole time because Roseanne told me to shut up, so I shut up because I respect her. But one of the things we haven't talked about is the quote that it costs nothing to be the second patriot. No one minds once somebody started moving in that direction. It's very easy to get behind it and go, I'm all for free speech. But no one wants to do it when you get banned, demonetized, and worst, I mean, the worst part is when you get yelled at and ostracized by friends. That's the biggest threat they can do, is not taking your money away. It's when your friends stop talking to you, when your family starts thinking you're weird. That's the thing that keeps most of us in a cage. It's as old as the human genome, is to not be pushed away from the tribe. But when you know something is right,
How about when everything you fought for years, probably 9 years, to make happen on television and met such horrendous resistance, and still you fought on because you felt it was right, met horrid resistance that took a toll on your body, your life, your children's life, everything. Those same people who resisted made you like crawl to get like, certain characters or something said, now call you a racist. Those same people. And then they lied and tricked me in a time of mental distress, which they caused, and stole my work of all my years and cut me out of my own creation with, a little bit amount of money, which they told me they would renegotiate if the show was picked up. And it has been for 5 years. I haven't gotten a dime. But anyway, all my ideas, all my characters based on my children and my life. And they didn't even bat an eye in blinking away my contribution to my own show, and left nothing of me standing, killed the character, left nothing of me standing, assassinated my character and my character over and over and over. When they knew that I had, I didn't know the woman was Black. And they knew that I didn't know that and that I had made a mistake. Okay. So they still called me a racist after a lifetime on television as a civil rights activist. And then the people that I gave jobs to and created characters for and sat there and made sure their lines were significant and that I wasn't the only one getting the laugh, which is how it was written. They could care less. And that really, really shook me because I thought I was respected and, loved even. And I was, it wasn't. And my contribution and my persona and my lines and my ideas, they weren't respected either. It meant shit to those people whom I, made rich. It's like, wow, talk about getting pimp slapped. And that's what it was. And it was a dressing down too from the first time I ever stepped dared to step foot into Hollywood as a woman. And I say the definition of a woman is me. And all the gaslighting they do is just despicable. And I am so enjoying seeing how they are falling in the public's estimation and opinion, because
So you were betrayed.
hundreds of times
Yeah. I
by
think that's
people that, by people who guaranteed they had my back this time, unlike last time when they put me through holy hell. I had about 16 nervous breakdowns. This time I had a nervous breakdown too, but and they knew I was having it, and that's when they screwed me. I mean,
Yep.
I don't even blame them in the least, because I know that my enemy is a force that gets into them. They're just sock puppets. But, I know my enemy. I know who that is, and I know why. And through it all, my faith in my own spirit and my connection to my creator, that grew stronger and stronger. Funny, isn't it? That's the one thing they don't know nothing about, is the human spirit or the human soul, since they don't have neither one of them, don't know what it is. May have once, but nothing's in there. Maybe a spark, which I hope my words would ignite in them, and they could come back to the human race by simply making right what they've done wrong and wanting to. And we would accept them back, like these billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
They could all get together and solve every problem on earth. And they could do it because it's the right thing to do. And then they could be our heroes. Hell,
Mhm.
they'd have the best food, women, song, wine that exists on the earth. They'd be heroes. But, they should give that a thought. You can always come back to the human race if you have a soul. A lot of these people going around, they don't have that, and they don't know what it is.
I think that there's, and I can only speak for myself, but it makes me think of the Ram Dass quote: "When you're alone by yourself at night and there's no one's eyes to look into to tell you how great you are." I often think of that, but I mean, be it getting into medical school, gaining 70 pounds after my brother committed suicide, getting sober, doing this podcast, getting shut down, Dr. Malone getting attacked, you getting attacked. Even after this show, when it's all done and the computer's off and I'm just sitting in this chair, there is a it sucks, but there's a peace, and I can look at myself and without a hesitation say to myself earnestly and be like, "You're all right. You stood for it. No one can take that away." And it's the participation trophy that nobody else can have. So they can attack me. I've been called I'm a white guy with blue eyes who's heterosexual from an upwardly mobile family, a conservative Christian. I mean, come on. I mean, fuck me, right? That's fine. I know what I am. I know what I do. And there's a piece in there. And sure, the piece sucks and the piece doesn't pay the bills, but it's a piece that I have and I have alone. And when I'm by myself.
I have to correct you there, kid.
Yes, ma'am.
That piece does everything. It does pay the bills. You just stop saying that now.
Okay.
You just say this piece does pay the bills, because the things we say are very, very powerful. And I'm telling you, in the real world, that piece is everything. There's nothing else. There's
Yes,
nothing
ma'am.
else.
I agree.
You're very lucky that you have it.
Well, thank you. I think that, sometimes you got to know when everything's just gone perfectly. I think this podcast just landed on the runway perfectly. And I say we wrap this one up in a bow. How about you guys?
Well,
I'd be happy
it's certainly been my pleasure to meet you, Dr. Barr.
Dr. Barr.
And I hope we have an opportunity to talk again.
I would love to speak to you again. I'd love to have you on my podcast as well, and you too, son.
Oh, thank you. Thank
What
you.
a pleasure it was for me to speak with both of you. Thank you very much.
Well,
I'll put you guys in touch. And the unsung hero off camera, Mr. Jake Barr. Thank you for putting this together and being
Isn't he a
patient with me.
great son?
He's a
He is a
stud.
great son. I tell you what, I've got two wonderful sons and three wonderful daughters. And I thank God for that.
And Jake is going to actually come on this show, I think, this Sunday, and he and I are going to shoot
That
the
kid
shit.
is a smart one. Well, I shouldn't say kid, he's in his 40s, but he's a smart boy, man.
He's going to come on here, and he and I are going to shoot the shit. About what? I don't know. And I hope Jake's ready for it.
That'll be a good one. Doctor, you are a pleasure.
Well, thanks. I was going to say, Roseanne, do you remember anything about Harry Truman? I know it was before your time.
No, I do remember.
You remember his election campaign?
Family.
What they'd say, give him hell, Harry. And he'd say, I just tell the truth and they think it's hell.
Harry Truman. Yeah, another fun fact about Harry Truman is when he was president, he used to have the pilot of Air Force One, whatever it was called back then, fly over the people he didn't like, the states, the senators he didn't like, and he'd have the bathroom evacuated over their state. So that's another thing about Harry Truman is he'd literally shit on his enemies. But
I'll tell you one more thing about Harry Truman that my mother's boyfriend, he told me, and he was in the 81st Airborne Division there, and Arnie Leibowitz, and he told me, he said it was Harry S. Truman that gave birth to the state of Israel.
Oh yeah, right. 47, right? Correct.
48.
40. Damn it.
I don't know.
I was doing so well. No, I think you're right. 47 was CIA.
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
No, I think it is 48.
Christians usually know more about Israel than Jews.
I should. What do I know? Dr. Barr and Dr. Malone, I'll put you guys in touch. I'll share your numbers and you guys can do that. And Jake, I will see you on Sunday. Miss Roseanne Barr, Dr. Robert Malone, thank you so much for your time.
Man.
Thank you so much.